'cause I'm never done. On the field, I'm number one. Pressure.
Welcome to the Man United stream. Hope you're doing well. It's Monday night and we've got a live stream for you. And it's all about, of course, transfer news and Semenyo. It's hotting up. Even though we've not officially opened for transfers, January transfer window is about, 7-8 days away. But we know there's going to be lots of business being done behind the scenes right now. Yes, we've got lots and lots of work to do because we've got a huge injury crisis and we need to go out there in the January transfer window and sign the players that we need. We need midfielders, we need attackers, we need lots of different players. But is Semenyo on top of that list for me? I'm not convinced. I'm really not convinced. Number one, I'm not convinced that he's going to join Man United. Number two, I'm not convinced that we should be putting all our effort into going and getting an attacking player when we are clearly having huge problems in the midfield. Now that Bruno Fernandes is injured as well, can we afford to put all our efforts into signing a striker? When let's be honest, we are doing pretty well with getting goals. We're not in problem. That's not a problem area for us right now. We're not having any problems scoring goals. The problem is we're having problems in keeping them out. And let's be honest, the reason why that is happening is because teams are just walking through our midfield. It's non-existent. Casemiro not playing yesterday was a big miss. Ugarte is not that player. He's not very good defensively, but he's not very good at going forward either. And then you've got Bruno Fernandes. Of course, we know he's not a defensive player. He likes going and attacking, creating chances. And, well, he's out injured. We've not fully heard what's actually going on with him in terms of how long he's going to be out, but there's rumours, reports going around that he could be out for at least a month, at least. But I would probably say he's out for 2 months. 2 months. Knowing what Ruben Amorim does when players get injured, like we're seeing with Leacher, he's still not starting him. And it's been, it's been almost a month now since he's been fit. He went off to international duty, came back and everything else, but yet he's still not starting for Man United. So I can see Ruben Amorim doing the same with Bruno Fernandes, saying, I'm not going to start you until, you're fully integrated into the team and things like that. Ridiculous, in my opinion. But this is what Ruben Amorim does. This is what Man United do. And if that is the case, the season might already be over by then. The season might already be over. Because, look, we've got games coming thick and fast, and who are we going to throw in there? Of course, we would have straight away said Kobbie Mainoo, right? We would have said Kobbie Mainoo is going to jump in, but even he's injured. Now, we're not quite sure whether that was a genuine reason for him to be out in yesterday's game or whether it was, a reprimand for him and his brother doing that mini protest. Of course, he said, look, he had no idea that his brother was going to wear that T-shirt to Old Trafford. But clearly, someone might have said to him, right, okay, we're just going to leave you on the side anyway, leave you at Manchester because, you're under pressure or there's the limelight on you and lots of people are going to ask you the question. So I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there. Let's hope it is that, and let's hope it wasn't the injury that they're saying it was, and that's why he couldn't join United at Villa. I'm hoping that it was all made up. Because right now, we need him playing for United against Newcastle. We can't afford to have another midfielder out. And Kobbie Mainoo could quite easily slot into Bruno Fernandes' position. That's what he's been doing. He's been working in that position all this season. Working hard, trying to break through and play instead of Bruno Fernandes. And this is his chance, isn't it? It's his chance to start playing for Man United once again. And who knows what January might bring. He might get so many games and he might do really well. And all that talk about him being sold or going out on loan might just go and just completely disappear. And I'm hoping that might be the case. Anyway, let's go to the main headline of today. The news story today is all about Semenyo. Semenyo. Everybody in the Premier League wants this guy. Man City are apparently going to do a swap deal. They're actually convincing Bournemouth with all sorts of transfer options. And then we've got Liverpool, who there was lots to talk about Liverpool not going in for Semenyo, but since Isaac got injured, well, it's completely turned everything around, and now Liverpool are going to go in, we're hearing, for Semenyo as well, because they need an attacking player, and they feel like, well, Isaac is supposedly, he's got a broken leg, and if that's the case, well, he's out for months as well. All these injuries, where the hell are they coming from? Honestly, couldn't not make this up. But anyway, if Isaac is injured, Liverpool are going to come back in, and that doesn't bode well for United. Because if it was just a 50-50 chance, if it was Man City or Man United, it's quite easy. When you've got 50% chance, you know, okay, he's got two clubs to choose from. He's going to either choose he's going to either choose Man City or Man United. It's quite a simple choice. And then I don't know what Semenyo's going to be thinking. He's already talked to Ruben Amorim. He knows what the project is at United and where we're going. And then we're hearing that he's probably going to end up talking to Pep as well. But Pep, there's some question marks over Pep even being here next season. So if that's the case, he might think, well, you know, do I want to be at a club who loses their manager? Why not join United? And then United's a bigger club, isn't it? Let's be honest, United is the big club, and everyone, when they're young, they dream about playing for United, or at least most football players do, because, you know, it's got the heritage. I'm not quite sure. No, but what I'm trying to say to you is that it was 50-50 between Man City and Man United. But now, if Liverpool join in the race and they offer him something, again, it could then turn into a complete chaos. It'll turn into chaos, because I'm hearing even Arsenal are still checking out their options, still waiting, still seeing what Semenyo decides. Now, news got broken today, and it was Semenyo could make his decision on his future today of all days. And I was thinking, what? Why today? Why Monday? Why would Monday be a perfect day for him to make an announcement about his future? I don't believe it to be true. I really don't, even though it's been reported widely now that Semenyo is going to make his decision. I think he's going to wait. I think he's going to wait to see all the offers that are going to come in. And I feel like the Liverpool and other clubs will be putting solid offers for him. We do know that he's agreed personal terms with the relative clubs. Now, again, we've heard that he's agreed personal terms with Man United. We've heard that he's agreed personal terms with Man City. What's this guy doing? I mean, he's completely undecided. But he's doing what any footballer would dream of doing. Just sat there and having all these offers land on his doorstep. And he's deciding, right, which one do I go with? Which one offers me more? I just can't see him joining United. I don't want to be a party pooper. I do not want to be the guy saying, I don't know about this and I'm not sure about this. And I know everyone wants the positive news, but I just do not get the feeling that he wants to join Man United. He had the opportunity to do it in the summer. He didn't push for it. Something didn't work out and he stayed at Bournemouth. And now, since we all found out about his 65 mil release clause, it's been up in arms, hasn't it? Every club has wanted a piece of this guy, and Tottenham went in for him. Apparently, Tottenham got rejected. He rejected Tottenham and respectfully declined them. Apparently, that was the words used. I don't know what he must have said to him. Like, no, thank you. I'm not looking to join Tottenham. Maybe that's because he's an Arsenal fan. I believe that if Arsenal went in for him, they'd get him. I really do. I can't see how they wouldn't. But I'm just thinking whether Arsenal have got the budget in play for January transfers. They've spent quite a lot during the summer transfer. United as well, though. Let's be honest, United are not the club that they used to be when it comes to spending money and big money. We're still hearing from Ruben Amorim saying that, United are not looking to spend in the January transfer window. This was after the Villa game last night, where we heard him say, yes, Bruno Fernandes is injured, but we're not going to rush in and go into this transfer window in January and buy players. And I was thinking, what are you on about? What do you mean rush in? We're not rushing in. We are missing midfielders. We need midfielders. We need players in this team. You've got a bench made up of God knows who, right? Every time you look at United's lineup you look over at the bench and you think, shit, who do we have on the bench that can come on and change the game for us? It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. A club the size of Man United trying to compete in the Premier League, trying to qualify for the Champions League, has got a bench which is, you wouldn't find even in the bottom half of teams. You get it? You wouldn't even have a bench like that. No one, it's just crazy. It's crazy. So, look, we need to make moves. We need to make moves and definitely go out there and sign some big named players. Now, when I mean big name players, I'm not saying go out there and sign, the world's best. I'm saying we need to go out there and go and sign 2 very good centre mid players. Now, actually, there's some news breaking today about a very good prospect. Now, he's a name that's been mentioned a couple of times, and I think he could do the job for us. He really could. Now, beggars can't be choosers, number one. So I know INEOS are going to be really reluctant to go out there and spend big. So I'm giving you an option, INEOS. I'm giving you a nice, cheap option. Go and get this guy, Ruben Neves. Apparently, 15 million gets the deal done. And if that's the case, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. This guy is proven. He knows what to do. He's one of those players that you kind of need in the team. He's a no-nonsense type centre mid, and he will break up play, and he'll make it difficult for teams to overload in that midfield. Right now, teams know exactly how to play against us. They know that we'll just overload in the midfield. There's Casemiro, the poor bloke. He's half retired. His legs are gone by the 60th minute, and we'll just run riot. There has to be something done about this, and I'm not blaming the defenders from yesterday. Look, there were kids playing against men, and Rodgers just simply destroyed United single-handedly. In fact, Aston Villa were shit. We played the better game, but unfortunately, we didn't get the result that we needed. And, well, that just points to the fact that we need more players. We need quality players to come in when first-team players are injured. That's how it works. Now, we're already struggling. Now we've got Bruno Fernandes missing. We've got Ahmad and Mbeumo gone. Mazraoui, who's playing out in Morocco, playing for his international team. He's gone for a month. I think he's going to be gone for a month because he's favourite to win. Sandil, welcome to the show, mate. It's painful because Sandil says it's painful because we have a manager who doesn't understand his system. If he does understand his system, why is he playing 3-4-3 without wing backs? Because that's where the goals are coming from now. You're right, but I've said it many times, Sandil. He's playing this formation, and I agree. I actually agree with you because he's playing this formation with the wrong players. He hasn't got the players at his disposal. Now, I don't know whether Ruben Amorim's probably thinking, right, I'll force these guys to play in this formation and my system, and then after a while, they might improve. And by that time, I'll have another season to go out there in the summer and sign the players that I really need to sign. So go and get 2 world-class wing backs. Go and get a world-class centre mid in Anderson or Wharton, something like that, or Belabor. And then he's thinking, right, and then I'll start cooking. But he hasn't got that time. Unfortunately, he hasn't got that time because, let's be honest, we're not patient enough. I'm not patient. I want to see success. I want to see difference. And I want to see United competing. Yesterday's game was an interesting game because first half, I thought we were the better team. We deserved to be going in at least 1-0 or 2-0 ahead. They didn't deserve to be going in at a level. And Rodgers, that goal, I swear, that shouldn't have been a goal. I mean, Lenny Euro should have done better. And I'm saying this as constructive criticism for Lenny Euro. I'm not saying he needs to be kicked out and he's no good and we should sell him and blah, blah. No, let's keep everything into perspective. He is a very good young centre-back who's going to go on to be one of the best. He will. He's got the right ingredients. He's got the right basic skills to go in. However, what Rodgers did yesterday is all about experience. If an experienced defender was playing against him, like say Maz or Mazraoui or anybody else, they'd know, right, make him go on his left foot. Make him go on his left. Do not let him step back in again on his right foot, because we've seen it time and time again this season. He gets on that right foot and he lets one go. He lets them go. And look, both goals were fantastic goals by him. You can't take that away from Rodgers. They were great goals. But that's it. They were just them 2 goals. They were 2 great goals, 2 great shots, and United were undone. But United, I feel, were the better team. And we rarely say that, don't we? We rarely watch United and say they were the better team. But I have to say, we were cooking yesterday. Unfortunate for us, obviously, Bruno Fernandes went off injured and we didn't have anyone to replace him. We were all over the place. We played Leacher in centre mid. We were playing everyone. It just doesn't make sense to me right now how Ruben Amorim can sit there and say, oh, we don't need anybody in January. We're not going to rush in to sign anybody. And I feel like that is almost like what he's been told to say by the owners. You know, that's what Glazers would say. That's what INEOS are now saying as well. Right, go out there and tell everybody we don't need to sign anybody. We're not prepared to sign anybody in January if we don't have to. And for me, it's like, it's nonsensical. There's teams out there like Man City who have got a brilliant squad. They've got hardly any injuries and they're still going out there for Semenyo. They're not resting on their laurels. Same thing with Arsenal. Watch Arsenal sign at least 1 or 2 players in January when they could quite easily say, well, we've got our team. We're sorted. We don't need to rush out there and sign anybody. But they will, because they know to keep ahead of the game, you've got to keep on adding. You've got to keep having options everywhere. We've got to give our manager options as well. Ruben Amorim can't openly say that. But I know that he wants options. He knows that this squad isn't good enough. He's been telling us for months that the academy players are not up for it right now. They're not ready to make that transition into the first team. So he's essentially saying to the board, read between the lines, he's saying, you need to go and get me more players. You need to go out there and start making some big moves and actually spending and getting me players. He was distraught. He was unhappy that United did not sign anybody in the summer when in that midfield position. He said it immediately in the first couple of games in the season. He said, look, we were trying to get someone, but we haven't. And that is a clear problem at United right now. So yeah, Ruben Neves, yeah, if we can get him for 15 mil, bring it on. I swear, if we can't go and sign anyone like that, we might as well give up now. We might as well give up. You might as well just tell the fans not to bother. Not to bother to get excited, not to bother about watching United. We might as well just pack it up right now. And this is what Ruben Amorim is saying. He says, Ruben Amorim on January plans, what we cannot do is reach January and try to do everything with urgency and make mistakes again and be left saying, here we go again. What's he on about? What's he on about? What signings have we made in January that have turned out really bad? And even if they have, who gives a shit? At least we are trying. That's what all clubs are doing. We are going to continue with our plan. The club comes first. But Ruben, stop doing this to yourself. Be honest. You're honest about everything else. You're honest about all the players and what's going on at the club and your performances and your current win rate. Be honest about you needing players. Stop backing the owners, because we know you are. We know deep down you know that you need players. You need the midfielders in there. You've been crying out for a midfielder already. It was always a matter of time. It was always a matter of time when Casemiro gets suspended, right? Or he gets injured. But look, Bruno Fernandes, I'm shocked. Yesterday, when he pulled up with his hamstring and he's clutching his thigh, and I was thinking, OMG, I've never seen him do that at all. He's always just runs it off, doesn't whinge about any injury, and we're going to miss him. We're going to miss him, because whatever you think of Bruno Fernandes, and even I'm not a big fan of him half the time. I'm always complaining about him, giving the ball away and things like that. But I know he's going to be a big miss because we haven't got any other players to step in. And Kobe Mainoo, yes, he might step in, might do a good job, but if he's injured, if that is genuine, the news is genuine, it was true that he got injured, then what do we do? Who's going to play in there now? Crazy stuff. Evening, Jim. Hope you're doing well. Rob, hope you're doing well. Rob says, I don't think it's coming from Jim, but Ruben needs to stop being naive and follow the line set by Wilcox and Bereda. Spot on, man. Spot on, Rob. In there with facts. Why? Why is he doing that? He needs to wake up. Past managers did the same bloody thing. They towed the line. They spoke for the owners and covered up shit. But now, fans, we worked it out, man. We worked it out. We know this cycle. We've seen this happen before. It's not our first rodeo, yeah? We've seen this shit. We know what happens. Managers come out. They pretend they don't need these players. They pretend it's all good and everything. We are going to continue with our plan. The club comes first. Well, if the club comes first, you need to go out there and go and sign all these players because it's clear. It's clear for everyone to see that we have got a really, really light squad. In fact, Jim, you'd remember, and we discussed this about 5-6 games ago. I remember you jumping on and we discussed, and you pointed out, saying to me, pre-match, we were just going to do a watch along, and Jim said, "Oh, look at our bench. There's no one on there." It's like, yeah, who the hell would want that bench? And I'm like, I looked over at the bench and I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, we've got nobody on there. Like, nobody on there, seriously, who you would say could come on and make a difference. I think there was Mount maybe on there, and you could argue, yes, Mason Mount can come on, but even he was coming back from injury. So what do you do? What do you do? So, look, for me, I this is nonsense. For me, it's absolute nonsense. We're missing some of our best players, and we are talking about, now we don't really need to go and sign anybody. Now, if that's the case, what the hell are we going to do by letting Zertsky go? Like, that's being nonsensical. What is that all about? Now, there's still lots of rumours going on about Joshua Zertsky leaving this January and joining a club in Serie A. Roma seem like they are the front runners to sign him. So Joshua Zertsky is impressed by the project Roma have presented to him. Talks are ongoing, no decision yet, as Manchester United have not given their approval at this stage. Zertsky has several inquiries on the table, not just from Roma. Well, do you blame the guy? I mean, do you blame the guy? We've not really used him. He's not going. I don't think he's going to get any game time. Unless Sesko gets injured, because we have heard that Ruben Amorim said, "Look, Sesko's brilliant. He had a good performance yesterday. I thought he had a decent performance. I wouldn't say he had a really good performance. I just thought he had a decent performance. I think the first couple of chances he got in the first half were good. I mean, he could have possibly done something different in both scenarios, but then again, Martinez, you have to give Martinez some credit, especially for the first save that he made when he came out, rushed out to him and made himself big and stopped it. I thought that was good, and that was Martinez, a classic Martinez. Sesko, I think he went missing though. He went missing in the second half. He just disappeared completely. Didn't know what had gone on. In fact, I forgot he was even playing. I was like, oh my god, Sesko's still playing for us. He's still on for us. I guess Sesko still needs to improve. There's still a player that we need to get back up to speed or on point. He's not scoring enough goals for us, in my opinion. And Kuna, oh my god, the first goal, brilliant goal, but that chance he missed with a header could have made it at least this result slightly more bearable. But look, it was a good performance overall. Now, on another player that could be leaving. Now, look at all these players that we're talking about leaving, but we're being told by Amorim, But don't expect any to come in. Like, what? Surely we can't be selling these players. Now, Galatasaray are pushing for Ugarte. Manchester United want 30 mil plus. Galatasaray are proposing a loan with an option to buy, total package around 25 mil. I think I can see Ugarte going. I can't see United holding on to him, but then it depends all on the January transfer window and whether United go and buy somebody else. Now, just before I said that we've got Neves, Ruben Neves for 15 million we can get. Now, for me, that would be an upgrade. Again, I don't know about you guys, but I would be looking at it thinking, Neves for 15 mil, you sell him, you get Ugarte out, go and get Neves. And Neves, I feel, will do a better job than Ugarte. I just feel Ugarte hasn't got the composure. He's just like a headless chicken, just runs around, doesn't actually do anything, might get his foot in there here and there, gives a foul away. He gets his customary yellow card. And yeah, we all know what happens once you get a yellow card. Ruben Amorim just takes you off. So yeah, automatically that is it. If you get a yellow card, you're off. See you later. But for me, look, we've got some serious concerns. I'm concerned. Semenyo, coming back to Semenyo, actually, guys. Actually, let me just check. Rob says, if Zertsky was to go, we have to buy a backup striker. Doesn't need to be anything fancy, just a legit striker who can come off the bench. Yeah, exactly. I've said this before, Rob. I said I was shouting on the rooftops in the summer transfer window saying, go and get a backup striker. I know we've signed Sesko. Just go and get another backup striker. Just make a move. Just go and get anybody who can do a half-decent job, can get maybe 10 goals for us in the season. I'd be happy with that. But just go and get somebody. And at that point, I was just saying, yeah, anybody will do. Mateta would be brilliant. Watkins, of course, he played for Villa yesterday. And then there was a few other names being thrown around. And I thought, look, just go and get a backup striker, someone from the Premier League who's played in the Premier League, knows what is expected of him. Because I was always afraid of Sesko not hitting the ground running. I always knew that Sesko will take at least a season to actually get up to speed. If he gets up to speed, because I'm going to be honest, I've seen quite a lot of strikers come from the Bundesliga, a lot of players from the Bundesliga who haven't cut the mustard when it comes to the Premier League. They've just simply not been good enough. I mean, a prime example is Timo Werner. Every time he's come from Bundesliga, he comes to the Premier League, he's shit. He goes back to the Bundesliga, he looks like a bloody world-class player again. So yeah, crazy. I feel players like Ugarte and Menu. Let me just go back. Wait, here we go. I feel like players like Ugarte and Menu, they hardly get any game time, and then we expect them to be up to speed and motivated. Looks delusional. Yeah, look, that is certainly a criticism when I look at Kobbie Mainoo. I don't get the criticism he was getting by lots of fans who were saying, oh, Kobbie Mainoo came on and he looks shit, get him out of here, and yeah, let him go on loan and let him get sold, he's shit. And I'm thinking, well, not really, because he's not actually had any minutes. For Ugarte, you could argue, yeah, he's been coming on regularly. He's been playing for United. Mainoo has barely featured. I mean, how many times has he actually come on? And how long of a stint has he had playing for United, even when he comes on? Hardly any. I think the only one I can remember now is the Bournemouth one, right? Where he's actually come on and he's got some decent minutes underneath him. And he showed what he can actually do. So this could be a massive opportunity for Kobbie Mainoo to actually resurrect his career at United and, get rid of all these rumours about him leaving on a loan and going elsewhere. And this is why you need class players in the squad. This is why you need to hold on to them. This is why you need to manage these kind of players. And your manager has to have the ability to sit down with Kobbie Mainoo and the others and say, look, I know you're not getting game time, but you will. But you will. Your opportunity will come. And that's how you keep everyone motivated. You cannot allow these players to just simply just slink away and then just simply say, I want to move. And we accept it. What are we going to do? I've said it many times. If Kobbie Mainoo was playing for a Brighton or a Bournemouth or someone else right now, we'd be dropping a cool 80 million to sign him. That's you know that, and I know that's true, right? If Kobbie Mainoo was right now playing for another club, we would be making offers to sign him. The player that we've got right now, who's not featuring, who's been sat on the bench for most of this season. And yeah, I get Ruben Amorim saying, "Oh, my system and my formation doesn't suit him, and I can't play Kobbie Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes." But then that's why you get paid the big money, Ruben. You know, you need to work that out. You need to play these players. You need to keep them happy. You need to work out a system formation where he can play, where we can use our best players. We shouldn't have a situation where he is not getting any game time and he wants to jump ship. Sandil says, Bruno injury not serious. If Bruno is out for a month and Ofcon will take a month, he knows what's coming. He doesn't want to be part of it. And Mainoo not injured at all is his stupid idiot brother. The more I look into it, the more I believe that this was just the club reprimanding Kobbie Mainoo for his brother's actions, even though what Ruben Amorim said was, oh, look, it's not Kobbie Mainoo's fault. He didn't wear the T-shirt and he wasn't aware of it, or whatever he said. We know that the club were going to take action against Kobbie Mainoo. We knew that the club was going to sit down, and they must have said to him, look, yeah, you're not going to feature in the next game. We're just going to give you time out. You think about what you've done and your brother or whatever, and that's how they've dealt with it. That's how they feel. It was sending a message to Kobbie Mainoo that you're not going to bring the club into disrepute and get away with it. You're not going to start the next game just because your brother's. And it would have sent a bad signal if he starts the next game against Villa when his brother's the game before has put that T-shirt on. He probably thinks it works then, and it'll send a bad signal to everybody else and other players saying, all right, okay, so we'll just get a family member to turn up wearing a T-shirt next time we get dropped. That will set a bad precedent, but we need Kobbie Mainoo to be ready to go next game. I'm hoping that he is. And I'm hoping that we don't get any kind of news where he's out for another month. The problem is that right now, if we say everyone's coming back at end of January, we haven't got the players to cope with the games that we are going to play. And by then, we're right now, is it? Are we sixth? I think, or seventh? I can't remember now. But if we fail to win these games, these crucial games, and we drop further back, then the players might lose motivation to actually work hard and try and get into them Champions League spots again. But we're going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to wait and see what happens. This Semenyo thing is going to clearly drag on. Man City, to me, look like they are throwing the kitchen sink at trying to sign Semenyo. We've heard tonight Man City have offered Nathan Ake to Bournemouth while negotiating payment terms for Semenyo. That just tells you how much they want to sign. I mean, this is Man City. Normally, they don't really show their cards. They don't really go out guns blazing for players. They make the offer and then they sit back and wait for the player to either agree or disagree, and the club to agree or reject, whatever. But this time, I feel like Man City are really pushing for this deal to go ahead. And sometimes that is all what it takes. It's not necessarily Semenyo who wants to move to Man City, but when he sees the eagerness of Man City trying to sign him, he might just say, well, I'm wanted more. I'm loved by Man City more than I am with Liverpool or United. United aren't convincing me. They're not working hard enough for me. Show me the money. It's that kind of moment, isn't it? It's that kind of moment where he's probably thinking, well, yeah, I need someone to actually want me. But I just can't see him fitting into that Man City team. Maybe just me, but I guess he is. We need the 1-1-5 decision to drop to put Semenyo off City. Yeah, we do, man. We do. Do you know what? I was surprised that City actually came in for him. I was really surprised. I thought it was always going to be Liverpool and Arsenal that are going to fight it out for Semenyo's contract and signature. I thought United were going to back down. I thought United were not going to come to the table. But since that 65 mil release clause was made public, I think United probably thought, well, we might as well put an offer in and see what happens. And there was also the interest that Ruben Amorim showed and the club showed in the summer. So maybe that is helping our kind of situation with Semenyo. Semenyo's maybe looking at us thinking, well, United have tried quite hard to sign me, so maybe I should be looking and giving them an option. But I'd love for United to sign him. I'm not saying I don't want to sign him, by the way. I'm a huge fan of Semenyo. I think he would add to United, despite us right now scoring a lot of goals. I just feel like it only takes 1 or 2 injuries for us to lose all them goals. I mean, if someone like Mbeumo or Kuna pick up an injury, then we're back to square one again, and we're like, oh, where do all our goals come from now? So having options is key. So Semenyo being part of the squad and part of United and part of United's future is a better thing than not. That's my opinion. So I really would like United to sign him, but I also don't want that at the behest of signing a midfielder. I do want United to still go out and sign midfielders. I don't want INEOS to say, right, that's it, we spent all our money on Semenyo and we're not signing anybody else. And I don't want that situation. I want them to pull their bloody fingers out and say, right, okay, Semenyo was too much of a good deal to let go, so we signed him, just like Sesko. So Sesko was not part of the plan, by the way. In the summer, Sesko was not part of United's plan. It was just that he became available and Newcastle were going to sign him, and they jumped in thinking, right, okay, do you know what? We have to go in. We have to go in and get Sesko before he goes to Newcastle. And then it turned into another Isaac situation where Sesko becomes a top young striker and he's worth in excess of 100 mil. And United then think, why didn't we sign him when we had the opportunity? So I'm not unhappy with Sesko at United. And yes, he's not scoring lots of goals, and yes, he's not really doing what we thought he'd be doing. But I still feel like we need to give him this season as a write-off. Write that this season off for Sesko. He will come good. He's a young striker who will become very, very good. So, yeah, that is that. But in Semenyo's case, we know if we sign him, he's already Premier League proven, knows what he's doing, he's been around the block, and he'll come in and start giving us goals. And he'll give us options. He'll give Ruben Amorim options. And maybe he could play that he could play forward. He could play in that position. He could play as an attacker. We don't necessarily need Sesko then, right? Or he could switch with Mbeumo and he could play right wing, or he could play left wing and we could play Kuna through the middle. We've got options. That's what he gives us. And that's why I think, yeah, look, I'm in favour of this, but I also need United to say, but we're looking at other positions we need to sort out. Some people say we need to go and get Mark Gui from Crystal Palace. And again, that's another signing. I think it's too good to let go simply to Liverpool. I think we need to at least put our foot in there, put an offer in there, try and distract him, try and get him. You never know. He might be a Man United fan at heart and he might come to United. And he is another top centre-back. And it's one of those signings that you're seeing and you think, well, we're not going to lose out. Why would he lose? Why not just go for him now? So, yeah, that's what it is. Akash, welcome to the show, mate. Hope you're doing well. Liverpool need to spend on centre-backs. Konate running his contract down. Gui being approached by us or Real Madrid, big clubs. Yeah, Liverpool are that's their main priority. The main priority, that's why they've gone off the Semenyo deal. They'd gone off the Semenyo deal. I'd heard that Liverpool were not going to go after Semenyo because they had to make sure that the centre-back positions were all filled, and they weren't sure about Salah either. So they don't know what's going on with Salah. I know they've rectified things, but they're still not 100% sure about what's going to happen with Salah. And that's why this whole Semenyo thing was there in the background, lurking around, but they're not 100% sure what they were going to do. But we can't rule Liverpool out. We can't rule them out because we know that they've got the money. If they need to, they'll drop the money and come and sign whoever they need to sign. Sandil says, Semenyo is coming to Manchester United. African players, they love Manchester United, believe that he's coming to United. Do you know what, Sandil? That's a really interesting comment you said there, because I've mentioned it a couple of times now. By the way, Sandil's from Africa, guys, so he knows the lowdown. He's got the information. And you're right, they do love Man United, without a doubt. Obviously, and BOMBA was a prime example of that. But I was talking to, like I said, I think I mentioned it a couple of times now. I spoke to a Ghanaian journalist, and he was telling me about Semenyo, and he was saying, yeah, look, yeah. And I was like, oh, could he join Man United? And he's like, look, he could. There's no doubt about it. He could join Man United because United are a big club in Africa. He said, look, you grow up and there's only certain clubs that you hear of, and Man United is one of those clubs that every young player ends up sporting or watching and keeping a close eye on. So let's hope you're right, Sandil. You're always on point. So let's hope and see. African players love Arsenal, I believe, Akash. Well, in this case, you might be right because Semenyo is an Arsenal fan. So I'm not quite sure how that works, but then he might still admire Man United from a distance. And Arsenal so far haven't come in for him. But I do feel like, and I've said this, if you go back to my other live streams, I've said it before, that Arsenal, if they come in for him, I think they've got a really high chance of signing him compared to everybody else in the Premier League because he is an Arsenal fan. And I heard it from the horse's mouth. He himself, Semenyo himself, confirmed to Harry Redknapp in a recent interview that he's an Arsenal fan. So, yeah, you might be right there, Akash. If Arsenal come in, yeah, Arsenal have big following in Africa, Rob says as well. But Arsenal are not in for Semenyo. Yeah, not yet. But I just feel like if they know that he's an Arsenal fan, like they did with Eze, right? I get this feeling that they might pull an Eze on any club. So I think they might do this. Now, it might not happen, but this is how I think it's going to play out. So you can clip this if you want. I think Arsenal are waiting for him to agree terms and for the club, for Bournemouth to agree a fee with any club, whether it's Man City, Man United, Liverpool, whatever. And once that's done, that's when they're going to step in and make a hijack for Semenyo, and they're going to make an offer to Bournemouth, and they're going to get Semenyo. That's how I think it's going to play out. And I've believed that from day one. I've always, as soon as I heard he's an Arsenal fan, I thought, that's it, he's going to Arsenal. Unless Arsenal, for whatever reason, turn around and say, we don't want him. But if you're an Arsenal fan, let us know. What do you think? Do you think Arsenal would like to sign Semenyo, or do you think they've got plenty of players in that position? I mean, they've got Martinelli and they've got Trossard. But again, he could play anywhere. He could play right wing, he could play left wing, he could play in all them positions. So, yeah, Arsenal probably think, yeah, who knows? What if one of our players gets injured? Why not bring him in? And he is a bargain at 65 mil. That's crazy for what you're getting. For what you're getting is crazy. What is it? Rob says Arsenal have a deep squad. I can't see them doing much in Jan. Yeah, we say that, but you know what? I was saying that in the summer about Arsenal. I was like, oh, they don't really need to sign anyone. They don't really need to go out there and do much business, but they still did. I just feel like Arsenal are very similar to City in the sense that they're greedy. They know that the other clubs are going to maybe sign a top player, and they're thinking, right, yeah, we don't really need him, but let's go and sign him anyway. We'd rather sign him than allow him to go to an opposition. That's all it is. Akash says, all African friends are Arsenal fans, never met Liverpool or Man United fans, but they do admire Liverpool and Man United. But Man United is not in a position to be admired right now. Yeah, look, that is what I've been saying for some time. I've been saying, not just for Semenyo's deal, I've been saying for some time that United need to perform and be getting these points, these 3 points in the bag and be in them Champions League spots. Because if it comes to January transfer window and we're not in them spots, we're going to find it very difficult to convince players that want Champions League football, and we're going to be turning up to them and saying, yeah, we'll be in Champions League next season. when we're not even in the spots, right? So if we were in the Champions League spots and then we're knocking on these players' doors and saying, right, look, we'll offer you this, we'll offer you that, we'll offer you this, join Man United, we're going in the right direction, these players might say, well, clearly you're not going in the right direction. But then again, look, do I feel United have improved from last season? Yes, they have. Of course we have, because we're scoring a lot more goals. We're a lot more dangerous going forward. So yeah, let's hope that is the case. Let's see. Let's hope that pans out, and the players can see that. And Semenyo, who's already apparently, reportedly, has spoken with Ruben Amorim. What was discussed, we don't know, but let's hope Ruben Amorim worked his magic on him. The new SCR rules coming in for next season has blown things wide open. Man United can spend an extra 100 million plus on transfers without Europe. Yeah, they can. I mean, that ruling, I think it was about a month or two ago, that ruling really did help United from all the clubs. United probably benefited the most from in my opinion, on that, because, yeah, that's opened up the gates to go and sign whoever they want to or spend big. But problem is United haven't got that money to spend. They'll have to take out credit facilities to go and sign these kind of players. But who gives a shit? It's not our money, is it? We shouldn't be complaining about that. Whatever happens, INEOS need to do something and go and sign these players. I'm not giving any excuses to the Glazers or INEOS. They need to pull their fingers out or leave. Leave, sell up, sell to another owner who can actually buy players for us, who can actually sort this mess out for us. I'm sick and tired of hearing about how United don't need to sign players and how United are going to work with what they've got. Screw you. Why are these other clubs not working with what they've got? Why didn't Man City last season say, oh, Pep's a top manager, let him work and cook with the players we've already signed? No, they didn't. They went out in the January transfer window and signed big name players. And again in the summer. Same thing with bloody Slot. They could have sat there and said, oh, look, do you know what? Liverpool have just won the championship. A Slot doesn't need it to improve on this team, so we're going to stick with it. No, they didn't. They went out there and doubled down. They went and put their money where their mouth is and spent big again in the summer. That's what big clubs do. Same thing with Arteta. They could have turned around and said, well, Arteta's wasted all this money and he's signed all these players. We're not going to go and sign Gyökeres. Screw that. We're not going to go and sign any more players for him. Allow it. But they didn't. They doubled down. This is the difference between the owners of these clubs. And this is the difference between the flipping Glazers and INEOS. We've got a set of owners who are simply penny pinching. And they are going to go into the January transfer window and try and spend the least amount of money. That is the crux of everything that's wrong at Man United. We forget about complaining about Ruben Amorim, the players and everything else. It's all the roads lead back to the owners and how they've been running this shit show at United. But anyway, Akash says Trossard is underrated. I love Trossard. Being a Liverpool fan, best of luck for Semenyo. I hope you don't get him. No, look. And that's fine, Akash. I like that comment. I like that. It keeps us real. It keeps us real. I know Liverpool fans admire Semenyo as well. There's been a lot of talk about you wanting to get him as well. Look, Liverpool have got their own issues right now, and you're right about getting a centre-back. I think that's your number one priority. Konate has just simply fallen off. I don't know what's wrong with the kid. You don't like seeing that because you want these players to reach their potential to do well. But again, obviously, being a United fan, I'm not complaining. I'm enjoying Liverpool, but their demise at the moment. But I also know that it's very easy for them to turn on the switch and start winning again for Liverpool. So because they have got a very, very good squad of players there. So yeah, the Isak injury, yeah, that's a bit of a shame, but they've still got, Ekitike to step in, and he's, to be fair, he's playing a lot better than Isak right now. So I guess if you were to choose one to get injured, it would have been Isak for Liverpool fans. Let me go now further down, catch up on other comments. Yes, they can, yes, but will they? Yeah, exactly. we can go and sign 100 million plus worth of players, but will we really? I can't see that happening. I just feel like INEOS are just always talking about saving money. Might go paying Glazer dividends again. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Jim and Rob. I mean, do you know what? I like the fact that people, United fans, can see through this shit. I can't stand fans who glaze over INEOS and Jim Ratcliffe and talk up the Glazers. Yes, there are still some fans out there who still feel the Glazers have done a good job with United. Believe it or not, I swear, I still meet Man United fans who turn around and say, oh, but the Glazers have spent on buying players. They've spent big. And I'm thinking, what planet are you from? How do you call yourself a Man United fan, saying that the Glazers have been good for United? Seriously, but thank you, Rob. I mean, at least, we know this is the problem. We've got issues with INEOS. He's got his head stuck up bloody Glazers' arse, hasn't he? Jim Ratcliffe, every time he talks about the Glazers, he flipping starts telling us how lovely they are and how nice they are and, oh, they're really good people. And I'm thinking, screw you, Jim. Screw you, mate. What the flip are you talking about? These guys have screwed us over completely, and you're telling us to turn around and look at the Glazers in a different light. Whatever, man. Whatever. Sandil says African fans like Arsenal, but players who play football, their dream is to play for Man United. Of course it is, Sandil. Of course it is. We play from. The dream. Everyone dreams about playing for a big club. I mean, why would you flipping dream about playing for Arsenal? I have no idea. Unless you just don't like winning trophies, right? I don't get that. I really don't. Get. Unless it's a nightmare. I think that might be it. I think it's a nightmare. If you ever have a nightmare about playing football, you're playing at the Emirates, right? And I still can't see them winning the league. I really can't. I still feel like they're gonna bottle it. They're gonna bottle it. I think Man City have got more of a chance of winning it. Lads, this is classic INEOS gaslighting. I'm hearing he's going to City. I said it to you, Nish. I said it a couple of days ago. If you remember, I said, I bet you INEOS have just put this news story out just to keep the fans engaged and just keep everyone talking about Man United. Because you've got to remember, it's big business. This is big business. The more talk there is of Man United signing this player, that player, this player linked to this player, who do you think benefits? Man United benefit because everyone's talking about United. And even if Man United have got 0 pennies to their name, they've been linked to all these big name players, and everyone, all the markets, all the investors who are buying United shares, they're thinking, yeah, United is a filthy rich club, and the owners are filthy rich because how would they afford to sign Semenyo and this player and that player? So they must have loads of money stashed up somewhere. So let's keep on buying Man United shares. It's all a bloody game, man. It's all smoke screen and shit like that just to keep everyone else engaged into thinking United are going to be the team. That's what it's all about. Bet anything he goes to City. Look, I've said it. I've said it, and I said it. Jim knows. We've said it. I've said it to Jim, and Jim agrees, and Jim's the same actually. Which is, we've both said, I can't see it happening. I can't see Semenyo coming to United. I really can't. I wish it is true. I wish I'm completely off the mark and I'm wrong, and I would be ecstatic. I'd be celebrating, but I just can't see it. I can't. All this is where we're in for him is seriously all bullshit. Yeah. Akash, in my opinion, when Liverpool spend big, they spend thinking about future, but Man United just signed looking at the present situation. I may be wrong. No, you're right. In recent history, United have done exactly that. We've spent just for the present day, not looking whether this player will come in and play for us in the future. And that's, to be fair, what Ruben Amorim said yesterday, if you're kind of looking at it from his perspective. And he said this before as well. He said, look, we've made the mistake of signing players where they've just simply been a stopgap for a season or two and never really looked at players joining us and then staying with us for the next 5 to 10 years. And he goes, that's what needs to change. We need to sign players who develop and become and stay at United for years to come and become the legends of the club. And that's what needs to change. And I think that's true. I think that's a fair point. I think the problem is, Akash, is that when you're winning, like Liverpool have been doing, or Arsenal or Man City, you're not pressured into going out there and buying players to improve the team immediately. You can go out there and buy young players for the future, and slowly integrate them into your first team. United haven't really got the liberty to do that. United need results, and they need them quick. And yeah, even I'm impatient. When I'm watching Ruben Amorim do what he's doing, and then he says, look, we need further time. And I sometimes I hear fans say, you need patience, Travis. Just have a bit of patience. And I'm thinking, screw that. Patience? Forget patience, man. I've had enough. I've had enough of the flipping Glazers. I've had enough of the Ratcliffe. And now you're telling me, be patient. But I know, look, realistically, you do need that patience to overcome what we're going through right now. I do, but that's when I calm down and I reflect on things. But when I'm watching United, my patience goes out the window. I mean, I forget all that. I'm like flipping. I want instant success. I want players to come in right now and start cooking for us. I get what you mean there. There was an article last week saying the government could step in if the Glazers don't spend on this new stadium, and Regen they will step in and make them sell the club. But it's not it's not real. Surely, no, it's not. It's not, Jim. I wish they could. I wish they could do something like that. I wish they could just ban the Glazers from ever coming into the UK again. Just because of what they've done to the flipping done to Man United. But they can't step in. It's just a private equity deal. It's the Glazers. They can the Glazers and INEOS. They can approach private investment companies to invest in the stadium. But then, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think that is what's going to happen. The eventual solution to building a new stadium, mark my words, will be where INEOS and the Glazers get together and go out and take a £2 billion loan from an investment company of some kind. And that's where they'll then paint it as, oh, look, it's not a loan, and it's all good and blah, blah, but it's gonna be something on that level where they're gonna go out and get the money and then pay huge amounts of interest back. I don't know how it's gonna work, to be honest with you. I think that they've got a lot of work to do before they can even start thinking about building a stadium. We've got £1.2 billion of debt right now sat on Man United currently. Who's going to clear that? What's going to happen with that? So yeah. Jim, I don't think they can do that. No, they can't. Yeah. I only hope that the supporter will see through the BS when Semenyo doesn't happen. Unfortunately, Nish, you know what? There's plenty of times where I sit back and I think, surely the supporters will see what INEOS or the Glazers are like. But you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised how much Man United supporters have just been completely brainwashed into believing that, oh yeah, we're just around the corner and success is right around the corner. It's not, until we don't sort shit out. Until we don't actually put pressure on INEOS and the Glazers, nothing will change. Without a shadow of a doubt. Look, these guys, INEOS, have come in and they're a bit more astute. They're not the Glazers. They know exactly how to play United fans. They know the mentality of the fans. Jim and all these guys around him know that, all right, do you know what? We can tell them. We can feed them some drip feed them bullshit about signing this player and making these moves and building a new stadium and doing this, and their future looks bright and blah, blah, blah. We'll give a new lick of a paint on Carrington and tell them that we've transformed it all and it's state of the art and it's all good now and everything's hunky-dory. Bullshit. It's just bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. They've spent pennies on Carrington to fix it up. right? It was already pretty good, but they've just given it a new lick of paint and put in some new features and said, yeah, it's a revamp and look how good it is now. Absolute bullshit. Akash, thank you for joining us, mate. Appreciate you coming on. You're welcome to come on whenever you want, mate. It is always nice to hear from a Liverpool fan as well, giving us your perspective from outside in, and obviously, when we see Liverpool start playing slightly better, then you can really come on and try and troll us, right? But right now you can you can enjoy Liverpool. Hopefully, still not winning as many games as we like. I mean, the idea City aren't going to outbid us for this guy and offer him a Champions League is insane. They've got him exactly. I mean, I don't know why people run away with the idea of Semenyo choosing United over Champions League football. If you're a footballer, think about this. You've got guaranteed trophies, you've got guaranteed success, you've guaranteed Champions League, you're guaranteed to be all over all the competitions. Why would you risk joining Man United, who are currently not even in the Champions League spots? Doesn't look likely. They've got huge amounts of injuries. They've got players who have gone on international duty. They could fall even further behind. What is the attraction of United apart from it being the club, the heritage and everything else? And if he is a secret admirer of Man United, that's all we've got. I am hoping that it works. I'm really am. I'm not like saying, look, I don't want United to sign him, and I don't want Semenyo to be looking at United saying, I like the look of United. I want him to be saying, I love United, I want to come to United over Man City. But I'm also trying to save face here. I'm trying to save face, and I think you are too, Niche, and so is everybody else. Because we don't want to have a situation where we're all excited about Semenyo and everyone's talking about Semenyo coming to United and we're all buzzing, and then suddenly he signs for City and we're all kind of hiding from that news. So no, I'm not going to allow anyone to gaslight me, and same with you, Anish. Yeah, I agree. Saw your channel today and followed. Thanks Akash. Rivals but not enemies. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that, Akash. Thanks very much, man. You're welcome to join us whenever you feel like, mate. Nish says City are going to dominate again. Sick of the ownership. It does. It all comes back to the ownership. It just comes back to... Imagine if we had a different ownership right now. What do you think they'd be doing? Immediately, they'd be going and saying, whoa, we've got a chance to qualify for Champions League. Let's throw some money at this situation. Let's go and get the players that Ruben Amorim requires, and let's cook. Unfortunately, this is the modern day football. You've got to put money into it. You can't expect to just simply get some random player who turns into a superstar. Not always the case. Yeah, you might get lucky here and there, but overall, we haven't got them players. We haven't got them coming from the academy. We haven't got them coming from outside. And we need to go and spend money. That's as simple as. We need to spend money. I desperately want him. I'm hearing he was never going to happen in reality. Look, apart from this last week, my stance on Semenyo has been that he's not coming to United. But in the last week, we've started hearing from the likes of Fabrizio Romano and others, David Ornstein, saying he's agreed personal terms with Man United. And that, to me, came as a massive shock, I must admit. I was not expecting that. So that's why I've kind of taken a step back thinking, okay, maybe there's something in here. Maybe something could happen that we're not fully aware of. But I think, look, City and others are ahead of United for sure. How long? Look how long it took to get the Mbeumo, and he wanted us. Yep, exactly. And we apparently were negotiating over around about 4 to 5 mil. That's what we were negotiating over, and we kept on going back and forth and discussing things with Mbeumo's representatives and his club. Can you believe that? And we're talking about making a clear bid that clears Man City, clears Liverpool or Arsenal. I think, look, I've said it many times, United cannot cope with any kind of bidding war. Immediately, if a bidding war starts, United have to take a step back and sit down. That's it. United have to sit back because they can't compete. It's embarrassing as a United fan to even say that. And this is why I always go back. I go back to INEOS. These shitheads who came in saying that they're going to change everything for United and all our fortunes will change. All he flipping did is come and give the Glazers a lifeline. The Glazers were on their knees. They were down and out. They were gone. They were completely down and out, gone. They were skint. He himself proudly says it. Jim Ratcliffe himself. The Glazers were skint. They had no money. I came in and I helped them. Man United were going to run out of money. They had 1 month left before they were going to run out of money. That's what he was saying. Proudly telling everybody. And I was sat there listening to his words thinking, you knobhead. How dare you? How dare you, knowing full well that these Glazers have shafted United, have destroyed our legacy. Within over 10 years, they've undone everything that we did. And then he's like, yeah, I'm a Man United fan. Bullshit, are you? Absolute lie. Anyway, last thing, Niche says, exactly, Semenyo's agent is going to take that crap. He's going to advise him to go with City. We're haggling over a few mil for a player who will definitely sign him because he loved the club. Yeah. Look, if you're a player, you're looking at it from the point of view of, right, okay, which club is going to be financially sound for me going forward? Think about it. It doesn't... Look, it's like the closest I can say is you're going for a job at two companies based in Manchester. Now, one company is successful, making lots of money, has got the best staff, has got the best facilities, has got the best owners, and everything's hunky-dory, and they've got a project for the future, and they're at the top of their game. The other company you've got there is, they used to be a big company. They were the very big company at one point, making lots of money, making millions. But then since then, they're no longer doing that. They're in debt of £1.2 billion. They're a bit in no man's land. They're not really making a lot of money in terms of winning contracts and things like that. Who would you pick? Which company would you work for? You'd work for the company that's been successful. I'm going to leave it there, guys. I'm going to leave it there. Jim, thank you. Nish, thank you. Akash and everybody else, thank you very much. Rob as well. You guys have been fantastic. I'm going to leave it there. I'll be back tomorrow with, of course, update on anything that happens. Sandil as well, thank you for joining us. I'll be back. We've gone way over the 1 hour mark. I always come on thinking I'm going to do a 30-minute stream. And it's 40 minutes, then it's 50 minutes, then it's an hour, and it goes on and on. But appreciate everyone here, and I'll be back tomorrow. If anything breaks, I will bring it to you.